Hello again, Algebra 1 students. Today we will look at video number 6, and this is about lesson 1-6 called Relations. Some vocabulary words we will be talking about in this video include coordinate system, coordinate plane, the X and Y axes, the origin, ordered pair, X and Y coordinates, relation, mapping, domain, range, independent variable, dependent variable. Question A says to express the relation brace, open parentheses 3 comma -2 comma 4 comma 6 comma open parentheses 5 comma 2 close parentheses comma open parentheses -1 comma 3 close parentheses close brace as a mapping. So let's first of all talk about the word relation. A relation by definition is a set of ordered pairs. So we do have a set. In mathematics, sets are denoted using braces a lot of times. So we do have a left brace. So this starts our set, and there's a right brace that ends our set. And we said that a relation is a set of ordered pairs. So there are 4 ordered pairs here. 3 comma -2 is one ordered pair. 4 comma 6 is a second ordered pair. 5 comma 2 is a third ordered pair. And -1 comma 3 is a fourth ordered pair. So as we take a look at this relation, answer choice A has expressed the relation as a table. And so the X coordinates are the first members of the relation. So they are 3, 4, 5, and -1. And the Y coordinates are the second members of the relation. And we can see that -2 has been paired with 3, 6 has been paired with 4, 2 has been paired with 5, and 3 has been paired with -1. So letter A correctly expresses this relation as a table, but not as a mapping. Letter A wanted a mapping. So, excuse me, the question letter A wanted a mapping, and the answer choice for letter A was a table. So that's not the right answer. Let's take a look at letter B. What letter B has done is it has expressed this relation as a graph. So 3 comma -2 means to plot that point, we will go 3 to the right because 3 is the X coordinate, and 2 down because -2 is the Y coordinate. So 3 comma -2, 3 to the right, and 2 down from the origin. This O stands for origin. 4 comma 6 means from the origin, we're going to move 4 to the right and 6 up. So there's a second point. 5 comma 2 means we're going 5 to the right and 2 up. And then -1 comma 3 means we're going 1 to the left and 3 up. So this relation has been correctly expressed as a graph on letter B, but question A says to express it as a mapping. So this wouldn't be the answer, even though it's been expressed correctly, because the question wanted a mapping. Let's take a look at answer choice C. This is considered a mapping. So all of the X's are in one bubble, if you will, and all of the Y's are in another bubble. And so what a mapping does is it tells, okay, 3, you're getting to -2. You're paired with -2, and that's what happened. 4 is getting sent to 6, or 4 is being paired with 6. 5, you're getting mapped to 2, you're getting sent to, and -1, you're getting paired with 3. And so letter C is the correct mapping of this relation. Now letter D is also a mapping, but it's mapped backwards. So it mapped, -2 here was a y coordinate. So it mapped y to x. But when we do mappings, we always map from x to y. So the correct answer would be letter C. Letter B, question B is talking about the same relation, the same set of ordered pairs, and it says to find the domain and the range. So we're going to talk about these words domain and range. So the domain can be thought of as 5 different concepts or ideas. So I'm going to list those 5 concepts or ideas here. One of the bullets for domain is it's the first members of a relation. And so as I've underlined in green, there are 4 first members. They are 3, 4, 5, and -1. A second thing that domain can be thought of are the x coordinates. So when we write ordered pairs, the first number in the ordered pair is always the x coordinate. The third bullet point, and we're going to need this for later on in this video, is that domain can be thought of as the independent variable. We can also think of domain as a set of inputs. If you think about a computer, an input is a domain member. And also on a graph, the domain is going from left to right in terms of direction. Let's take a look at range. And so I'm going to put 5 bullet points for what range is as well. And so the range refers to the second members of a relation. So as you look at these 4 ordered pairs, the second member of each ordered pair is double underlined in purple, and those numbers are -2, 6, 2, and 3. Range can also be thought of as the y coordinates, the second members of an ordered pair. We can think of range as the dependent variable. We can think of range as output. And on a graph, we can think of range going from bottom to top on a graph. Now, to get the correct answer, we said that the domain were the first members or the x's of a relation. And so those numbers are in green, 3, 4, 5, -1, and that's correct. Usually when you write them in order, we go from smallest to greatest or least to greatest. So in this case, putting those 4 green numbers that are underlined from least to greatest would be -1, 3, 4, 5. And notice we're using braces because this domain is considered discrete. In other words, there's only 4 numbers. So -1, then 3, then 4, then 5, and then a right brace. The left brace starts it, and the right brace ends it. Only those 4 numbers. And then the range are the double underlined purple numbers, the y's or the second members. Those numbers are -2, 6, 2, 3, and again, we want to put them in order from least to greatest. So that would go -2, 2, 3, and 6. So the correct domain and range would be letter A. This question says, in warm climates, the average amount of electricity used rises as the daily average temperature increases, and it falls as the daily average temperature decreases. Identify the independent and the dependent variables for this function. So in this case, the independent variable is something that, if you will, can't be controlled. So when you talk about the two variables here, one of the variable is the average amount of electricity used, and the other variable is the average temperature. And so the average temperature can't be controlled. It'd be nice if we could, as humans, control temperature, but we can't. So that's going to be our independent variable, is the average daily average temperature. And then the dependent variable, it means which variable depends on the independent variable. So since the average temperature was the independent variable, the dependent variable has to be the average amount of electricity used. So electricity then depends on the temperature. The hotter it is, the more electricity used, so that the air conditioners can keep us cool. And then the lesser the temperature, the lower the amount of electricity that's used. Another question that's related to this same idea: in a particular club, as membership dues increase, the number of new members decreases. Identify the independent and the dependent variable in this function. So in this case, membership is going to depend on how much it costs to be in the club. So membership dues are the cost. That would be the independent variable. And then the dependent variable would be the number of members. Because if the cost to be in the club increases, that's going to have less members wanting to be part of it. And so that answer choice here is letter B. The cost, if you will, is the independent variable, and then the number of people in the club will be the dependent variable. Next question. The area of a square increases as the length of a side increases. Identify the independent and the dependent variable in this function. So another way to think of what's independent and what's dependent is what has to take place first. Well, before we can have an area of a square, a covering, we first have to have a square. We need a length of a side. So that has to take place first. So the length of the side has to be independent, and then the area of the square would be dependent. This question is a bit different. So it's giving us a graph, and they tell us that the graph represents Macy's speed as she swims laps in a pool. Describe what is happening in the graph. So as we take a look at it, it looks like the horizontal axis, or the independent variable, or the X, or the domain, if you will, is the time. And it looks like the dependent variable, the vertical axis, the Y, or the range, is the speed. So as we move from left to right, so in other words, as time goes by, it looks like Macy's speed at the beginning is getting faster. And then she reaches a maximum speed, and then she starts to slow down. And eventually she reaches and takes a little break, stops for a short time, then she starts up again, starts to increase her speed, and then her speed starts to decrease a little bit, and then it happens again. And so as we take a look at it, which of these little scenarios or stories makes the most sense? And it looks like it's letter B. Macy's speed increases as she crosses the length of the pool, but then decreases to 0 when she turns around at the end of each lap. And that's going to do it for section 1-6, which was about relations. So we certainly hope that you do a good job on your homework assignment for this section, and we'll see you next time for section 1-7. Bye-bye.